volunteers in Lesotho have been holding sutra classes to inspire local underprivileged communities in the African country. And in Malaysia, volunteers repaint the home of a scholarship recipient to provide a more wholesome environment for her studies. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Duncan, DeAeth, and thank you for joining us. Lesotho is an independent country which is surrounded by South Africa. Many people there live in poverty, but local Tsuji volunteers are hoping to transform the lives of local communities. Every week, 24 community volunteers have been joining Tsuji volunteers to study Buddhist sutras. Many of these community volunteers grew up in poverty, though they continue to be diligent in their studies.
Today is when volunteers come together to study and work. Here we see them undertake self-reliant skills. As community volunteers, each invested $5 to buy materials to produce a sort of multi-purpose cleansing cream, along with a protective type of Vaseline. Volunteers sit and pay careful attention to ingredients according to a formula, as sales of this product will go to a fund to help poor people. Every week, this group, led by Tsuji volunteers, gathered together to gain a better understanding of Tsuji, including diligent study of Chinese. This group is also able to perform the Tsuji song, "We Are One Family."
In Swaziland, local Tsuji volunteers decided to hold a leadership training session to celebrate Tsuji's 51st anniversary. Since it rained heavily the day before the training session, people thought the turnout would be low. Surprisingly, many people still showed up for the training session, reaffirming their commitment to Tsuji's missions.
The participants of Tsuji leadership training session show how united they are through their wonderful singing.
But our brothers are always claiming he's too young. We want to do another 50 years of Tsuji.
With a large turnout, the volunteers decide to prepare 2 extra pots of vegetarian food for lunch.
We are Tsuji volunteers and we don't eat meat, so we are preparing a vegetarian dish with pumpkin. We also got tomatoes here. We are going to make chocolate.
Please come back.
As it rained heavily the day before the training session, people thought the turnout would be low.
As yesterday, it was a heavy raining. When we were preparing for the seminar, I thought people were not going to attend the seminar today. But I'm so happy when I see that everyone is here.
Some people could not make it because the roads collapsed. I'm grateful to the people who showed up.
He wants us to reach 5,000 by the end of this year. I think that will be achievable. So I think the seminar is a great success.
Volunteers in Swaziland have chosen to reaffirm their commitment to Tsuji missions as another way to celebrate Tsuji's 51st anniversary.
In Myanmar, a local volunteer from Shwe Naguin, Usan Ten, has been promoting the rice-saving movement in his village to help others since he contacted Tsuji over a year ago. Currently, more than 400 families have been inspired to save a handful of rice each day. Mr. U recently invited Tsuji volunteers to hold a volunteer training in his village to inspire even more people to do good deeds. Let's take a look.
Tsuji hosts a volunteer training in Shwe Nanguin village for the first time. They have built an outdoor classroom with canvas and bamboo. All the volunteers persevere in Tsuji's humanitarian spirit as they make sure the venue is clean and the chairs are neatly arranged. More than 40 villagers have registered for this activity to learn more about Tzu Chi, with many children seated on the floor. Volunteers use the twig to explain how to work harmoniously and help each other.
If we collect all of the twigs, then we will be able to build the fire and cook, which brings a greater strength. So we need more bodhisattvas to do more good deeds.
More than 1 year ago, after Wu Sandian joined Tzu Chi, he began to inspire people in his village to save a handful of rice each day to help others. Currently, over 400 families have joined this rice-saving movement. Recently, Mr. Wu invited volunteers to hold a volunteer training in his village. Though this woman has to look after her paralyzed husband, she still attends these events in the hopes to reciprocate Tzu Chi's assistance in the future.
In the future, I'll do good deeds with Wu Sandan. I can help him collect rice bags. I'll also help and care for those who are in need.
With everyone's assistance, I feel more strength because I wouldn't be able to do this for a long time if it were only me. With more bodhisattvas, it helps make this mission possible.
It seems to be a small act of saving a handful of rice, but if we accumulate the rice by saving it little by little, it can help change a person's life.
With compassion and love, these villagers unite to collect love and spread it to those who are in need.
Having a home of your own is a blessing. In Ecuador's rebuilding effort, we take a look at the story of a mother and son who have been living in a temporary shelter since the earthquake struck last April. It's been nearly a year of staying in this temporary shelter, which is really no better than camping outside. The son hopes that the housing provided by the government will soon be finished, so he can give his mother a more comfortable living environment.
Right now, I'm making a sign for a friend nearby. He saw me painting before and asked me to make him a sign. I replied it would be my pleasure to do so. I do everything. I paint the background first, then I work on the lettering. I don't have much experience working as a painter, but as I don't have a job at the moment, I use most of my time to paint wherever someone needs it. This way, I earn a bit of money, so I can help my mom. After the earthquake, I moved here and made a shelter for my mother and I. We have lived here for about 11 months already.
I sleep here. Rolando sleeps there. You can't imagine how wet and damp it is here. When it rains, it floods. We are then practically swimming at home. Living here is not so convenient. I want to leave, mainly because of how wet everything gets. Living in such humid conditions is not good for my health.
Here it is, Efren. It's the work you asked for. Come and see it.
Congratulations! I hope that you continue to work on your art, and above all else, never give up.
Before the little house that the Minister of Urban Development and Housing gave us, we lived here. As you can see, the house is 4 meters wide and 10 meters deep. These are the bedrooms. There are 2. My mother sleeps in one while I in the other. Living here, the condition is better for my mother. That's what we as children want for our parents, for them to be in good health and to live in a good environment. Look at all this here. They still need to fix this and close the area here.
Yo espero lo más pronto posible. Si que dicen que para allá mañana ya está la casa para entregarla, mañana mismo.
I hope the house can be finished as soon as possible. If they said it is done tomorrow, we would move in right away. We're just waiting for the house to be completed so we can move in. We look forward to that day because there are many people like us who need to have their house back. People here are suffering. Like I said before, we're slowly rebuilding. If we are united, anything is possible. We'll be a great success here in Kanoa.
Very few families are willing to adopt children over the age of 3, and still fewer are willing to adopt children with physical or mental disabilities. Further, if families wish to adopt for reasons such as continuing the family lineage, these adoption requests are generally refused for improper motives. Currently, 449 children in Taiwan continue to await placement in good adoptive homes.
This game involving hugs is really enjoyed by these children. It's 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon and these young children have just woken up and are eating some snacks.
Generally, children under the age of 2 who come to us have experienced some difficulty or are from broken families. They may not have had good care at home and may have suffered from lack of nutrition.
Fresh food should be a child's staple food, though most institutions lack such ingredients over the long term because they must rely on donations to survive. Many also wear second-hand clothing, as many of these children are holding out for hope. When these social workers leave their site, these children begin to cry as they need to quickly reappear and pat their hand to appease them. This child, who is only 14 months old, came to this home 4 months ago.
In fact, she came here because her family neglected her. Most of the children here have special medical needs.
Bronchitis is the most common disease in this nursery. Fortunately, this little girl has already found an adoptive family. The social worker holds her and packs up a suitcase as she will begin meeting her adoptive parents on an introductory basis, first spending 3 days and 2 nights with them.
Generally, under the age of 3 is easier to adopt, and those over this age who show slower development have a harder time of finding an adoptive home.
Some of their families may have problems with drug or alcohol addiction, or a criminal record or mental illness, or retardation or a hereditary disease. This may prevent domestic families from adoption.
This child quietly playing with toys is Xiaobao, who is 5 years old this year.
This child was blind in one eye when he was born, so he must do some special training, and we need to keep track of what type of help he needs medically. His learning has somewhat been hindered.
According to statistics, the number of successful adoptions in Taiwan has reached 1,480 cases, with 40% taking place in Taiwan and 60% taking place abroad, with the United States, Sweden, and Australia being the top 3 countries for such adoption.
Taiwan's adoptive parents aren't as receptive to adopting children with disabilities. There are several reasons for this. One is that Taiwan's social welfare system isn't as good as those abroad. That is, when they adopt children with physical and mental disorders, they have to pay a great deal of money to care for them. As our social welfare system provides some subsidies, though abroad it may be much better.
Of course, this is true as Taiwan has yet to develop into a social welfare state.
According to statistics, the major reason for adopting is because of a family's childbearing difficulties. In particular, some in Taiwan may want to adopt to continue the family lineage, or for inheritance purposes, or for the sake of elders. These adoption requests are usually denied due to improper motivation.
We are very clear that we don't look favorably upon these reasons for adoption because this isn't in the best interest of the child.
Some parents are not willing to give up custody, but they also don't want to take these children home, so they must remain in these institutions.
Some children's parents are not willing to surrender custodial rights, and some adopted families don't want children with disabilities or those over 3 years old. Still, others may have improper reasons for seeking adoption, leading some 449 children to be stuck in orphanages or institutions in Taiwan.
In Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for a Malaysian Indian scholarship recipient from Kuala Lumpur. Her home was cluttered and hadn't been painted for many years, which was affecting her ability to study. So volunteers decided to help clean a bit and repaint her home. Some neighbors also joined to share in the work. Let's take a look.
Tzu Chi brothers and sisters can divide up work. They can start cleaning the items in the hallway.
Guganesh's house hasn't been painted for years. The mud of walls in the dark room have affected her learning environment.
Both the oldest daughter and the youngest son are very filial and they study very hard. They also have excellent academic records. It was because of the Happy Campus program that we met their parents. Since their home was cluttered, we suggested helping them paint the house.
11 years ago, Guganesh's father was in a traffic accident, leading his brain to be damaged. Since he is unable to take care of himself, Guganesh's mother shoulders the responsibility to support his family. Upon hearing that city volunteers were coming to paint their home, many neighbors actively joined the effort.
Tzu Chi also supports my son to study, so I'll do anything I can to help.
Volunteers choose many Indians' favorite colors to paint the walls. After the completion of the painting, the house has a new look.
I feel very happy. The last time our home was painted was when I was a 5th grader. After so many years, our home has been painted again. Volunteers turn my home into a very beautiful place with a comfortable environment.
With everyone's hard work and efforts, the task is finally completed. Even though all of them feel physically tired, they are very happy to contribute their share.
In Taiwan, the Jingsi Hall in Taoyuan has been implementing a new Shoots after-school class, which aims to help underprivileged students solve problems in their schoolwork. Over the past 3 years, many students have shown progress in their studies. With students' positive academic feedback, many of the teachers feel a sense of accomplishment and hope to contribute even more.
Xiong Yunkai, who suffers from scoliosis and muscular dystrophy, can only put his head on the table for each class. Although he feels uncomfortable all over his body, he cherishes every opportunity to learn.
The school may not be able to take care of each student, so when we come and bring our questions here, both English teachers or math teachers will help us solve problems.
This volunteer sitting by his side is from Tzu Chi's foreign language team, Zhang Limin.
I think we have a good affinity with each other. Although he's restricted by his physical ability, in his mind he wants to do something meaningful.
Yang Miaoyan is a teacher from Taoyuan's Yangming Junior High School. She is very devoted as she organizes her own teaching materials to meet different needs of each school. Many of the students have shown progress in their studies.
They have become more confident since they can bravely express their opinions.
Teacher Yang's husband works in the financial industry and he takes the responsibility to teach math.
We can supplement what they lack, but it is still limited because this class only lasts for 1 or 2 hours every 2 weeks. But at least they can feel that many people are caring for them.
Teachers of the New Shoots after-school class in Taoyuan have not only helped the underprivileged students, but they themselves have also benefited.
The greatest benefit is that every time when I say goodbye to him, I feel very happy and I'm grateful for everything.
Being alive, it is also important to have a sense of accomplishment in our life. Being able to come here to teach students makes me feel we are useful.
In Taiwan, kind-hearted people in Jianghua have been inviting shop owners to install fridges and place food inside to feed underprivileged people. A vegetarian bakery owner from Lugang, Liu Wen-sun, has been donating the bread which he is unable to sell each day to help the less fortunate. Let's take a look.
In this small fridge at the bakery, there are some vegetarian food, including bread, lunch boxes, and vegetables. The purpose of this fridge is very special. People in need can take as much food as they want without showing their IDs.
When I saw them taking the food and eating it as they walked, I felt very touched.
The owner of this bakery, Liu Wensen, joins to do good deeds by installing a charity fridge in his shop to help the less fortunate people.
I will place the bread which I am unable to sell in the fridge. Some customers may buy the bread and donate them. I will also put them in the fridge.
Some kind-hearted residents also donate a variety of food.
I bring whatever I have here, not anything in particular.
Mr. Liu was once rebellious and went astray when he was young. He repented and turned over a new leaf by learning the Buddhist teachings.
I will persevere on the Bodhisattva path based on my initial aspiration.
Mr. Liu was originally employed as a baker. After he had embraced vegetarianism for over 20 years, he pledged to run his own vegetarian bakery to benefit meat-free eaters. It is never too late to repent and correct mistakes, as Mr. Liu said that as long as he has ability, he will continue to help those in need.
A Tzu Chi daycare center in Penang, Malaysia began its first Veggie Planet campaign this year. The students will be encouraged to be vegetarian for 30 days to cultivate compassion. In addition to promoting a vegetarian diet, the daycare center also has several workshops, such as young chefs and young documentary volunteers, to help cultivate the potential of the students.
The daycare center holds its first Veggie Planet campaign this year, and the students will be vegetarian for 30 days.
We want to give another chance to the students of our Tzu Chi Daycare Center so they can continue the vegetarian event. It's a brand new beginning to new students.
Students also must learn to shoulder responsibilities. They go to different workshops based on their abilities and also learn to acknowledge other people's hard work.
They are diligent and they didn't give up, so when other students went to have snacks, they continue their work.
We use these activities and notice the kids have many merits. After lunch, they didn't say they'd continue playing games. They would continue on the work they haven't finished.
We make them eat vegetarian so we can love the earth, so other animals won't become extinct.
The event kickstarts children's compassion and also allows them to learn happily.
In Melbourne, Australia, Tzu Ching's recently hosted a 3-day camp event to inspire them all to do good deeds in their daily life. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.